Hi guys, welcome to Windsome Cottage Garden. My name is Hannah and I'm so glad that you decided to join me today. We are in the home garden and it is time to do a beginning of August garden tour. I'm actually filming this the day before that you're going to see it. So this is very much in the moment what my garden is looking like. And I am so thrilled with how it is filling out. I actually just went and watched a couple of videos to try and trigger the names of some of the plants I'm going to show you. And it is amazing to see how much they have changed in that year. I'm going to see if I can find just one quick view of the sunbed alone and what it's looking like now. So without further ado, let's dive in and talk about some of the varieties that I'm loving right now. It is kind of the golden hour, I guess you could say. We're nearing on 8 o'clock. We're on the edge of a timeline, so we are really fortunate that it stays light really late here. And it is gloriously cool. It has been excessively hot the last couple weeks with so much humidity. We had a lot of rain this week as that broke, and I'm excited to get out and do some projects this weekend that I'm sure you'll be seeing in an upcoming video. And as we stand by our shed and I just do a quick pan, you can see that things are really looking nice in the late summer. I mean, it's very picturesque. As we kind of come closer, you can see my store-bought zinnias. This has been an interesting experiment for me because I usually start all my zinnias from seed. This year I hit the easy button and I should have paid more attention to this a little bit more because some of these are definitely bedding plants that are pretty, but I was thinking they'd be cut flowers. These guys, for instance, bedding plants, beautiful, very prolific, but not really the cut flowers that I was hoping for. Then we have some cut and come again before we get into the Benary's giant. I actually need to come through and do some deadheading to encourage branching. The dahlias, you can see, are just getting budded up. We had our first one bloom. Let's see. Right here, I probably should have tried to get out here earlier because this is closing up for the day. This is a seed dahlia. That's really pretty. We've had it a couple years. As we kind of get closer, you can see this is looking a little light green. I think that typically it would be darker, but this is all new growth that this is pushing. This is a Gatsby Moon oak leaf hydrangea that we planted. Got a little warm in the heat, but I'm excited because it blooms on old wood. So all of this new growth means more flowers for next year. As we come closer, we can see that we're getting our second flush of roses. This one is budding up quite nicely. I do need to come in and do some training. We have one really pretty sweet one opened up. This is a St. Swithin David Austin rose. This is actually pretty small. They're usually a little bit bigger, but they are just glorious. And you can tell by the buds that they're also really fat cabbage style roses. The majority of the roses I have in this yard are David Austin. They're just kind of the classical rose when I think of roses. But that being said, my favorite rose is actually Proven Winners Atlas Rose, which I got 3 of, and they're reflushing. So when we make our way over there, we will give them a closer look. But it's just, I'm going to show you from my vantage point now at the east end of the yard, all the layering that is now appearing in this spot. Our Ann Magnolia, which actually just rebloomed again, which I'm really excited about. I don't think they're supposed to rebloom, but the one at our cottage always reblooms, and I was thrilled when this one did. We've got this oak leaf hydrangea, which is an ice crystal. No flowers this year, which is kind of to be expected because it had a rough year last summer, which is when it would have put on its buds. And this is a little dry, so it's doing a little lackluster. I just noticed today this wee hydrangea. I think I needed to come and add some soil around it, and it's suffering. So I'm going to come in this weekend and get that taken care of. This is kind of a no man's land that I've got an idea for later, but we don't really talk about it for now. Then you can kind of see from above some of the heuchera, the artemisia. If I turn around, you get the really pretty shot of what this looks like. And the Brennera, actually with their silver foliage, just pop in that area, and I'm kind of hoping they seed themselves around. Though someone made a suggestion, I'm trying to remember what it was. I wrote it down. I'm going to have to go find it, of a plant to stick here. It was like a chartreuse green, and it got kind of tall. One of you guys suggested it in a comment, and I have been looking for it. Haven't been able to find it yet. I will find it and pop it on the screen. But it's like a deep shade plant that I thought that chartreuse green with a little bit of height right here would just kind of pull your eye up. And I mean, as I turn around, I teased you earlier. Look at this, you guys. Look how beautiful this is. Such a pretty, like, flow, and this is just such a nice curve. Now, some of these I know the names of, some of them I don't. This I can actually tell you is a phlox, but this appeared in my yard, my last city garden yard. The birds planted it. We have a couple of them that we've moved around, and it's a repeated element. One of the things I talked about when I was making this bed and others is eye lines. Where is your eye naturally drawn? Where is the color pulling it? I said it back there just a minute ago that I want that chartreuse to act as an anchor point that draws your eye back and invites you around the corner. For me, when I was doing this bed, I love a cottage style garden, and you might look at this and think that it's pretty full. I look at it and think, man, there's a lot of space for me to fill up. But one of the things I was really intentional about doing is creating some of those repeated elements within the cottage garden to help tie it together as a unified space, and then also give your eye, either a place to rest or that continuity that kind of draws it along the bed as you've got this feast of the garden to look at, just to kind of bring some order to it that makes it not complete chaos, but more deliberate design. Now, there's been a couple things I've learned about this already. I can tell you that when I was doing this, a lot of these plants came with me from my old house. I've talked about it before, but when I sold it, I divided a lot of the plants I had. Some of them I just took. It was part of the sale that was outlined. And then I brought in a lot of plants too at the end of the season sale. But I planted these all kind of in the fall, not when they were blooming. And it's interesting to see how the colors have mixed together, because all of these things individually I love. But I'm thinking now, I kind of wish I'd had a little bit more color variation in these areas. But I'm seeing that as an opportunity to note that when I'm looking for things to fill in the spaces that I see, I know what not to get for these areas and what I am looking for. So I'll try and point that out as we kind of go through and talk through some of these plants. But in general, I mean, it's just done so well. This is a little quickfire hydrangea. This is one of my favorite hydrangeas. As you can see, this is a newer bloom where it's a beautiful, bright white, creamy with like those florets that pop out. And then in the fall, they'll turn pink. So this color here, a little spotty, but that deeper color, that's what all of these are going to do. And I think it's kind of beautiful when it starts shifting. Actually, I think it's beautiful in every shade. Now, this will get 4 to 5 tall and wide, so it'll fill this area quite well. And right next to it, we have a hibiscus we planted. Notice there was one still open. These have been affected by Japanese beetles or Asiatic beetles, both of them, quite badly. But look at this. This is a summerific, all eyes on me hibiscus. And oh my gosh, you guys. Is that color not stunning? I absolutely love it. And the good news is I got lots more to look forward to. One of the things that I think is a little bit sad about hibiscus, just as an aside, their flowers only last a day. Did you know that? So this one I just showed you, tomorrow is going to be closing up and done. But that means there's more to enjoy. So they can be a little bit messy, but another thing I like about them is they die all the way back to the ground in the winter and fall. So I have put things behind it, like a bleeding heart, that I know is going to be beautiful in the spring when this doesn't exist. But when it starts looking nasty or gets cut back or dies back and creates a hole, this is when this is taking over and you won't even notice it. It is right next to an Althea standard. We added Rose of Sharon, another one. Oh, and you can see my Japanese beetles. I need to go get a little jar. Note to self. Look at these. These are the bane of my existence. And I need to take care of them. Now, these are the Japanese beetles. If I see an Asiatic, I'll point it out because I was unfamiliar with them until this last year. But in terms of this is a lavender chiffon althea. It's part of the hibiscus family, as you could probably tell. And altheas are one of my favorite. One of the things, as I mentioned, color, that I wish I'd done a little bit differently is if you look at these two together. Now, one is clearly pink and one is clearly purple bluey. But there's not a lot of contrast there. Then maybe I just need to see, maybe I feel differently if there are more flowers on this open all at once. As this establishes more, it'll get bigger. I think they get 4 to 5 tall and wide. And there will be times where it is just covered in blooms. And then it'll be very clearly pink. But I've been thinking, oh, it might be nice to get something taller and columnar back there. I actually was thinking about these tall yellow sunflowers that I got from a friend that I have back there. Or there's a type of black-eyed Susan. It's like a multi-branching type. I can't remember the name of it. But I found the seeds for it on a site that gets quite tall. And I absolutely love doing it in flower arrangements. And I was thinking like a bright pop of yellow against the house back there might be nice. Because this will get, I think, 8 to 10 tall and 4 to 5 wide. And it's a standard eventually, and probably sooner than rather than later. I do want to move it, like limit up a tiny bit more. But we bought this on super clearance at the end of the season, and it was looking rough. So I am pleased to see that it's recovered so well. Though I keep noticing all these Japanese beetles. I got to get these under control. Be a little bit careful with Japanese beetles and Asiatic beetles because you don't want to crush them, because that will actually release a pheromone that will send out signals to other Japanese beetles that this is a good place. Because when they start amassing in quantity, they release those naturally. So when you crush them, you just do it all at once, and it's like a beacon to them. I find the best way to deal with these is get a little jar with a drop of dish soap in it, which will help break the surface tension of the water, which means you can just flick them into the jar. They'll sink. Kind of gross, but then that contains their pheromones and kills them. And if you do it when you start seeing them and do it persistently, so I'm going to be doing this weekend, you'll keep them out of your yard. I would not suggest doing things like those bud bag traps, because it actually will bring them into your yard, which might do more damage in the long run, even if you're containing a lot of them. Anyway, that was a bit of a tangent. Other things in this area. Our Walker's Low catmint right here is beginning to bloom out. I think I'm going to come in and shear it back a little bit. I was thinking about moving it this weekend because I want to pop it over there to give this, which is a Munstead Wood David Austin rose. It's a little sad because it's a little hot right now, and these are kind of fading a bit. But, oh, here's a good one. It's this beautiful, richly colored rose that smells good. It got a little misshapen in the move, but I think give it a couple years and it'll do well. But I do have this too close, so I need to pop that out the way. I was thinking about doing it now, but I might wait until cooler temperatures are more assured. We have another one of those phlox. I mentioned repeated elements, so we have 1, 2, 3 that are all planted by the birds, and I actually have some more up there that you can see that are a different variety, but I did not realize how close in color they were. These are prismatic pink luminary phlox from Proven Winners. Now these are an improved version that are less likely, I guess I could tell you when we get down there, but it's an improved version that is less likely to develop powdery mildew. But I haven't seen powdery mildew, knock on wood, on many things here. So that's good. We had a lupin that kind of got fried. I'm hoping it dropped enough seeds to kind of self-seed itself. We have some Veronica. This is a Proven Winners one. Gosh. That's a Magic Wands Veronica Purple Potion. I kind of skimmed over it when I was just honing in on the hydrangea. But it's pretty. This one stays a little bit shorter. We got some pinks, some Artemisia, Autumn Joy, Sedum are beginning to put on flowers. We did have a really pretty orange cone flower here that is looking So sad because it's been eaten back a couple times. Variegated sedum. This is a firecracker sedum, like a ground cover type. We have some more down the way. Plum dazzled sedum. We have more. So here's your firecrackers. I really, really like these. I think they add a really pretty purple element. These didn't flower this year. I can't remember if they're fall flowering, but we made our way back to this. I can't remember what this is, but it gets a little bit taller and it's more blue. And the bees have been all over it. It's about to get its cut back though. I think we had something, oh, in here, I'd originally had, which would have been looking really pretty right now, some banana cream daisies. I don't think the daisies survived the move. Unfortunately, a Mexican primrose did, which I had at my old house, and they were beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. However, hugely invasive. And I do want to add them back in this yard, but I'm going to be very strategic about where, and it's not in this space because there's really no containing them. So I have been pulling them as soon as I see them because it's funny, their original growth looks a lot like the banana cream daisies. So it only got to a point where I was like, why are you flowering early spring? Because they would be going about now. But something that is starting to go right now is our Pugster Blue Buddleia. You can see it's just starting, and you guys, it's covered. Now, this Pugster Blue Buddleia, 2 to 3 tall and wide, so it's a shorter variety, smells so good. I'm not typically one who loves grape scents, but that's what comes to mind when I think of this. It's just this really intense, grapey smell, and it's great. I actually really like it. And we have 3 of them in this area. But you're really only going to see, I'm actually thinking about getting 2 more. Spoiler. Because I love the intense blue color. And right now, well, you don't see them all at once. You're only seeing 2 and it feels incomplete. So this window right here is, so you can see my ironing board for my quilting area. But this is the basement. Let me carefully step back. Ooh, very dangerously. So this is the basement, the main room in the basement, and you can see that there's not a lot of space between the ground and the window. When we moved in over here, we actually had a really big arborvitae completely blocking this. There's another window there that's completely under the deck. So I really was conscious that when I removed the arborvitae and other plants that were blocking light, I did not want to block these windows because that room needs the light. So I've been very deliberate about creating wells in this bed of shorter things near the back of the house, which normally you would not do, but it's because you see them and they've got to look good from there. Hold on, I gotta make sure that's not my dog. Good news, not my dog. I don't remember exactly what I was saying, but something along the lines of, I very much wanted to make sure that the wells, so I had shorter things at the back, which typically you wouldn't do because you don't see them. But I wanted to, because you're going to be seeing them from these windows. Wanted it to be beautiful, still wanted to take advantage of this deep sun area because I don't have a lot of sun in this yard. And make sure that the bed was good from both sides. So for this Pugster Blue, got one right here with that nice little well that I talked about, and one right here. So I think in time, from this angle, I guess I see them all, but most people are going to be approaching from over here, in which case that one's completely blocked. So I think 5, 1, 2, and maybe another one, maybe it's a next year thing. I'm gonna think on this, but I've been considering it to kind of continue that draw down the line. Maybe I switch to a different color, but keep it in the Pugster series because they're really nice that they're small, shorter, not that huge commitment. I've actually got a right there, a butterfly bush I need to get planted that gets a little bit bigger, and part of why it's not in the ground is because I'm hesitating to pull the trigger on where it's gonna go. But it is really pretty. And one of the things I appreciate is it's still got that really big panicle flower. They're not many, which I love. Okay, and it's surrounded by some really pretty things too. Our Bathsheba David Austin rose. Forever one of my favorites. It's just such a pretty light apricot-y color. Look at that, like delicate. It shows up against the house beautifully. This has put on tremendous growth. I got a wild branch that I need to kind of finagle back. But man, give this a week and this has almost as many flowers as it did in the spring, which is unusual. But it's looking good. And we've got, I guess I should have stayed back here because we have this really pretty light pink balloon flower that is actually pretty tall. I don't remember it being quite this tall in my old yard. A pink Wands Veronica. I'll talk about this in a second. But over here, we had some things die out right by the window. So I'm going to need to think on this a tiny bit. I originally had an Artemisia there, which I think would be pretty because it would kind of mound you can still mound about here. This is an Autumn Joy sedum. And it's going to be looking beautiful. We got a hosta back here that I'm kind of thinking might be getting too much sun. We got a phlox that's getting too much water, so it's flopping. But there's a pretty well here. Oh, and there's some mini dwarf hollyhocks that died out. So I want to start some more seeds. And maybe I just kind of, I don't know. It's a very light color. A darker color would be nice in here to kind of provide some more contrast. But it's pretty. It's pretty. And this phlox is actually the tallest because these were planted by the birds. There were a series of, oh, I've got a sleeping bee friend already. Tucked in for the night. Look at that. Because these phlox were planted by the birds at my old house. I mean, I didn't have phlox in my yard at all, so I have no idea where this came from. But it clearly is probably a mix of one or two kinds because there were three or four plants appeared and they all are a little bit different. This one was the tallest and it's quite tall. Like I'd say it's probably about 4.5 feet tall. But they're all in the same color series. So I stuck it back here near the kind of ugly under deck area. There's a window that sees this. So we've got our pretty pufferfish that I'm hoping eventually, I think they're actually gonna come all the way up here. But I wanted to give pretty things to look at and kind of also shroud this area. We have some peonies. We have a blue iris that didn't flower this year. Then we have this guy. This guy is a summerific berry awesome hibiscus. And it is stunning and is done so well. Now, this one is a lot bigger than the other two that I've showed you. This is summerific. This summerific All Eyes on Me is in the same series. I think in retrospect, it would have been better to like switch them because that light pink here would have popped a lot more. But I do have a lot of light pink going on. So maybe this like more hotter pink is nice, but I didn't because of the leaves. This is a green leaf, which I think because it's closer to my house pops more. Which, by the way, what color would you say this house is? I would really like you to chime in below what color you think the house is. Because my mom and I are debating. I think she's crazy. She thinks I'm crazy. So I'm not going to say what either of us say the color is. But you just tell me, what color is this house? But this purpley leaf, it's not purple, but in this light, the purpley leaf kind of blends more into the color of the house. And I thought it in the middle of the bed actually would be better because if you're looking at it from the window, and maybe I'll pop down there and show you what it looks like. You've got the greens and the icy blues, and then there's this, so it stands out more. Same here. You can see more of the distinguishing features. I'm kind of thinking I might want to put something tallish here. Doesn't get super wide, more like columnar. That's something to think about. But I started to say, this one All eyes on me. And there's another one that we'll show I bought last year, end of season sale, very small pots. This one I'd bought in a larger pot 2 years ago. It came with me as a whole. I didn't split it from my old house. I think I actually bought it from my 33rd birthday. It was a gift to myself. So it's a couple years older, I guess is the point. And I think that this is going to be such a pretty late summer interest area, because we've got these, and even these little pinks, dianthus, are doing well. This is some more of that plum dazzled ground cover. This one is I've got a tag. It's a sedum, and it's a rockin' round bundle of joy. That's a cute little one that is supposed to be white. So I thought that when it's flowering would be a nice pop. But this might be another area to put some like echinacea or something. Maybe not like the typical purple, but like a yellow, a soft yellow. Anyway, kind of swinging around. One of the things I think you can see is typically I would have spaced out some of the pinks and the blues and the creams, but I've kind of put them all together unintentionally. We got a lot of pink in this section, and then we got a lot of bluey purple in this section, and then we got some more pink. And this is a drift, so this is forgiven. But I wish I would have spaced it out. But I think that just means I need to put things in there that will help break it up. This is a bloomerang lilac. And I think in retrospect, I probably planted these Millennium alliums a little too close to it, because I think that gets 4 to 6 tall and wide. But it's really pretty. I like it here. I love lilacs. We've got a denim and lace Russian sage. I don't know if I highlighted it before, but this is a repeated element. So we've got one here, one there, which is not quite as tall because it actually is bent forward. So I might need to address that in the spring with pruning. And another one there. And I think I'd like to get one over here to kind of continue that, and then add in another one over here. But we're getting closer and closer to what I think is the star of this area, which are these pufferfish hydrangeas. They get their name because they each have this little like tuft on their panicles. They're a little bit more soft than some of the panicle hydrangeas. And this is a Proven Winners one. And one thing I've noticed is because they have a more like open and airy flower, they do not, the rain doesn't bother them at all, which is amazing. We had a downpour the other day, and there's something up there I'm going to show you that was like, I came out and shook it a couple times. These didn't skip a beat. You'll note that they're a little like sparse in areas. I think that's because of how I bought them. I bought these on super clearance impulsively. I didn't even buy them, I think, the first time I went to the garden center where I do a lot of my end of season shopping. I think it was the second time I went, which I really shouldn't have done, but they'd reduced them more. And I think I got them for like 10 or 15 bucks each. And these were like sizable containers. So they were a little sad, but I knew I bought a lot of things that looked a little sad. My best deal of the deal, I'll show you in a second. But these guys, I knew they were going to be fine. What I didn't really consider, when my dad planted these, he did some pruning because they'd already kind of done some dying back. And I was looking at them this spring and I thought, oh, they don't need to be pruned. I think I should have pruned them a little bit more. So next spring, I'm going to give them a little bit more of a popping in. And I think that will encourage a little bit more basil growth, that hopefully they all look like this middle one. And I've seen some of these where they're like perfectly round and they are just covered. And this is what they're going to be like. Interestingly, I would say that these two on either side are like a half week to a week behind the middle one in terms of the development of their flowers. So this one, I think part of why it looks fuller, the flowers at least, is that the blooms are just more open. Like this one, definitely, look at this. You can see that there's still a lot of buds. Those will open more. Same over there. So I don't remember quite how tall these get, but I do believe that they're supposed to kind of get pretty tall. And I thought that that would be just a magnificent hedge to have in here. This is an area that we added last. A lot of this deep sunbed. I knew this was going to be here. I'd been thinking about where plants were going, and I used up a lot of the plants in my plant hoard when creating this bed. I've been trying to experiment with shorts a little bit more. Hopefully you've seen them, but I'm going to be doing a series throughout the rest of the season on shorts where I'm counting down the number of plants in my plant hoard as I get them in the ground. Because my big audacious goal is that I really, really want to end this season not wintering over anything in pots or in my in-ground holding area. A lot of these things came with me. It's mostly shade plants is the other thing because I used them up here. So I need to buy more plants, but considering this didn't exist this time last year, none of these beds did. This is filling in a little bit. We started out here, and that's why this is a lot fuller. We started out with this. This was in September, then we came in and did that. And then I did this recently this year. It's pretty empty, but I got tired of dealing with it. And I've just been kind of filling it. These came together quickly because I had so many plants, and it just looks so good. But the rest of these are going to fill in as I acquire things. I'm making note that some late summer color would be good here. I think this might not be a bad spot for another hibiscus because this is a peony, which gets kind of tall, but after it's done flowering, it's kind of blah. But I'd like a little smaller one, so I got to think on that a little bit. Or maybe I do like echinacea. I just need some late summer interest. I do have these really pretty phlox I mentioned. They're prismatic pink. A little luminary series, and they're a little bit different. And we have some more of the Millennium Alliums. These were all actually seeded from ones at the cottage and moved. And we kind of continued. This is new for the garden tours. I've been talking about this plan forever, that I wanted a hydrangea standard here. And this is a limelight hydrangea standard. Finally got it in the ground, and this is the one that I had to kind of shake off in the rain. 8 to 10 tall, 4 to 5 wide. And I'm hoping I can kind of train it to have a little bit more growth near the graft. But I think it's going to be really pretty. And I can't wait to plant out under it. This is an area that doesn't get a lot of water. I need to figure out water before I add more plants into the area. So I've been hand watering that for now. And it was important to me to get it in the ground, get it establishing. It was actually a birthday gift from my mom and dad, which I was really excited about because I didn't think it was in the budget this year to get. And then my dad, on top of that, we had to move the steps from the deck. That's why they're a different color. There were some really skinny pavers we had to move too. So he did all that and helped me plant it. But I'm over here because I wanted to show you. This is a Henryi clematis that's coming into bloom again. Very pretty. And I'm actually loving this obelisk structure here pointing into the yard. And that's kind of this whole big sunbed area. We have this whole area over here, which is actually mostly holding plants. I have defined the bed, but I need some more mulch before I can continue on. I actually think though I'm going to be doing some work here. Maybe even in an upcoming, like one of the next videos you see. I want to dig out some of the weeds and plants that are there and start bringing structure into this side. There's still some really pretty things in here that we'll kind of just quickly skim over because I am rapidly losing light. It's a Sengu Kaku Japanese maple that it's got something going on. I'm thinking it's got like a black spot. I need to actually, here we go, our brown spot, copper fungicide. I need to do something to it. But I've also noticed, I can't tell if this is the way it's supposed to be growing or if it's ill. But I'm just gonna, I need to get something to treat it. Maybe I'll do horticultural oil on a hose. And then I'm gonna watch it for a little bit, but I need to do some research into its growth habit because that seems a little strange to me. Now it does have this kind of like arching habit here, but I would have expected it to be a little bit more like along. It needs some pruning. I can tell you that. But if anybody's familiar with this plant, can you tell me if this is normal or if this is odd? We've got over here our planting area. We've got an endless summer hydrangea that is looking a little sad. I got a little fried in the heat. It's one that's a little harder to keep happy. But as I kind of pan over to not exactly no man's land, but kind of, we have another little quickfire hydrangea looking pretty. We have my Atlas roses that I mentioned. These are the only proven winners ones I have. But you can see, look at all these buds, you guys. This is going to be absolutely stunning in just a little bit. And these are the best smelling roses ever. I planted 3, so eventually I can have a hedge. And it's right next to the last hibiscus. This one doesn't have a flower yet, sadly. It's a watermelon ruffles hibiscus, not from proven winners. The other 2 were. But I think it'll be really pretty with this like dark foliage here. And it's like a watermelon pink, roughly, hibiscus. Back here we got a little weeds that I need to take care of. We have some rogue tomato plants that I actually put some cages up because I thought, dang, I need to keep these alive. One of them is actually like a variety I couldn't get to grow when I started seeds, so I can't remember the exact time, but it's a yellow tomato. We also have in here some oak leaf hydrangeas that are putting on growth. These are all ice crystals. This one needs to move, but I'm waiting for the fall to do that. But I can walk over here and show you. I just put on so much growth. These are the only ones that are blooming because they didn't get moved at all. But I also have in here, this is my steal of a deal I mentioned earlier. It's a red twig dogwood that I got for $5. It's a point of pride. I do need to come in and clear out some of these weeds. This behind it is actually a redbud that planted itself. I'm going to keep it. I'm just going to pop it over, put it more in the corner to help fill this area. But the Alaskan cedar's doing well. The crab apples are doing well. I still haven't planted these. I actually need to weed and plant them probably this weekend. I was thinking some salad. And then I actually need to do some work in the vegetable garden. All of my anemones need to now be dug out and saved for next year. And I'm going to come in with some more flowers. But these celosia are looking really pretty. The cosmos are doing well. The peppers are beginning to hit their stride. The tomatoes are slow because they got, planted late. But I need to come in and weed whack and mow between the beds. I have to get a hand mower for this, and I haven't hauled it out yet. But we've got lots of tomatoes on. The mint's going crazy. Onions are doing well. I mean, this whole area is shaping up. I think my potatoes going to be ready to harvest soon. I guess this is the one spot I have a little bit of powdery mildew, which is kind of to be expected on zucchini or squash plants. Now, these have been attacked, I think, by boars. Like, look at that. I'm kind of amazed it's not dead. But I wouldn't be surprised if it died out. I got a couple good zucchinis. Got a couple more growing on. My yellow squash is doing a lot better. And here's a look at this really pretty bed. The toad lilies are actually just budding up here, which they're one of my favorites. And I think it's been a really pretty pop in this area. And that's actually going to do it for this garden tour. Just to hang out in the back today. There's not a lot going in the front to show you. It's lulling a little bit more than the back is right now. But it's been looking so good that I wanted to stop and take a moment to kind of walk through and talk through some of the varieties a little bit more and bring back some of the things that I talked about when I started planting this bed for the first time. I think that it's going to be a bit of a refining year, actually a couple years, as I just fill it in, decide that plant doesn't work there, or I need to add this and that. I think every season I'm going to be like, I need more color from this season. If I step back, this is actually a decent amount of color for right now. I think I can add some variety and brightness with hues, but things are looking really, really good. And I'm thrilled with how it is all coming together. But we're not done yet. So if you haven't done so already, subscribe, like this video. Remember to comment below and tell me what color you think my house is. And I think I asked another question too. Oh, if you know anything about that Sengukaku Japanese maple, is that growth habit normal? Or do we think it's got something going on other than the spots? Let me know. And stick around. There's so much going on here in the home garden, and even more in the cottage garden, that you won't want to miss. So I really appreciate you joining me today. I can't wait to see you next time. Bye-bye.